Rajin is calling us. Wow, I don't know if we're the right people to talk to. Rajin is calling us in conjunction with a class assignment that he has. I don't want to give you an F. Yeah, I don't want you to get an F by talking to me. So hopefully we can be helpful. What's going on, Rajin?
Hello? Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? No, don't worry. You guys are actually, I'm actually quite enjoyed listening to the podcast. I'm a first timer here, so thank you guys so much for having me. I've been listening to everything you guys are talking about, and don't worry, this is definitely the right place. I'm very excited. So my school, we recently, yes, the assignment was go ahead and think of something that you wish you could put into everyone else's brain, like a thought that you could put into their head. And the quote that I wrote that I'm gonna read out directly because I want you guys to hear it is, "I'm going to stop being ignorant about things I know nothing about." That was the line. And I really wanted to take that, and my school can be an incredibly like religious place at times, like preachers on campus. It's just like a very common thing. And I'm an atheist myself. So I would come to you guys and I was like, you know what, these guys probably deal with people like this all the time. How do you deal with people that are so like anti-atheism or pro-Christianity to the point where it's like it's over the moon? You know, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, Ben, I'm gonna kick it over to you, my friend.
It depends. It depends on the person that I'm talking to. It depends on the context that we're in. If it's a place where like you're in a neutral setting, so maybe your school is not an example of like a neutral setting, but if I was just sitting here across from somebody who didn't like atheists for whatever reason, it depends on kind of what level of hostility they engage with will kind of determine where I place myself in that. I like to be as non-confrontational as possible, as long as the other person is willing to kind of match that. And so in those cases, I'll kind of keep it at like a very question-based conversation, kind of getting a feel for what they believe and why, and kind of having a back and forth conversation. If people are willing to go along with that, I love handling things that way. Because then over time, being able to show each other that you're both human, I think is very powerful. I think a lot of times when we talk about groups of people, it's very easy to generalize and easy to think things like that aren't necessarily going to play out, like kind of poisoning the well in a way. There are a lot of religious people that are very reasonable to talk to. And I know I've had some very good conversations. I'm sure Jimmy has as well. But from there, not everybody is willing to engage in that way. And so that's why I think continuing to watch this show would be probably a good experience for you, getting the feel for all different ranges of conversation. But some people can be more hostile, and I still, if I can, like to keep it very question-based and like to try to direct them to a way of understanding that we're all human at the end of the day. But if somebody is so, let's say, anti-atheist, or if they're in particular very anti-LGBT or expressing some opinions that are harmful, that's when I don't care how hostile or aggressive they're sounding. I will take it up to a level 10 and kind of set the scene of, you will not dehumanize anybody in this conversation. And so it can be kind of difficult to like get a feel for what that other person is going to take away from that conversation, or how you need to meet them. So you kind of have to take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, and because it might not work for every situation you're in. But with somebody who is like, let's say you never met this person before, and they just say out of the blue, I hate atheists or whatever. Like, there's oftentimes something kind of behind that statement. There's some more that you can get to the bottom of, whether it be asking them, you know, what makes you think that, or have you ever met an atheist, or like just allowing them the space to give their perspective. And then you can kind of have a back and forth with questions, but then knowing that if they're going to say something incredibly toxic and hostile, that's when you can hopefully get the confidence to say, hey, no, we're not going to have that conversation now. Jimmy, do you have a different way of going about that?
I don't have a different opinion on that. I think that your advice was sound. Go in and really without seeking to change minds or be confrontational, I would just match the other person's energy, because at the end of the day, nobody really wants to talk about this stuff, or we don't really want to turn every space that we're into or every space that we're in into a space that's defined by political and religious divisions, right? This space on Talk Heathen is a way that we can address religious divisions. But when I go to work, I have to be honest with you, I work very closely with like 6 people every single day. I have no idea really where they stand on religion, and I don't care. And I'm good with that. So, yeah. I mean, that's what I would add to what Ben had to say. Where do we stand? How are we looking so far, Regine?
No, you guys are great. Thank you so much. I mean, because you guys, people know about you guys are down in Texas, right?
No, the Atheist Community of Austin is based out of Texas. Fortunately, we have folks all over the country, all over the world. And so we got a lot of diversity, a lot of different perspectives coming in, but, we're all atheists. We don't all agree on everything, but, we work together anyway to kind of have these conversations. But yeah, we're not in Texas. What's the significance of that?
No, there is none. I literally just found this place on like your whole podcast. I found it online, and I thought you guys were Texan based, and I had no clue because I've never even been there. I have no clue, what the correlation might be between religiousness and how it like runs, through different like parts of the United States, and I didn't know how people. I didn't know how it was. I had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, initially back in the olden days, like. How many years ago has it been for the ACA? A long time ago.
I believe this is season 28.
Season 28, yeah. So, I mean, Texas is still very religious. And this kind of platform was a way to get people to ask questions and to be able to talk kind of outside the boundaries of their religious background. So it was previously like a public access television show that people call into, and it's carried on like since then. And there are multiple, I'm doing all the shilling here. I know we got announcements coming up to do this, but we got this show. We've got other shows, the Atheist Experience, which goes on after this. They're all separate channels, so you'll have to search for them or go to the links that we have. There's also on Fridays, there's Truth Wanted, which kind of addresses more of like we all can cover kind of the same things, but their focus is more on like alien claims, like Bigfoot, like a bunch of less religious topics that are still heavy on requiring critical thinking. So we have lots of different things, and definitely watch some more of the shows, watch some of the reruns. I feel like we're just turning this into a shilling thing, but
no, this is great. Ben, did you mention the nonprofits?
I didn't yet.
Listen, so Rajin, the nonprofits is a pre-recorded show that gets released every other night at 7 p.m. Eastern. So of course, 6 p.m. Central. But I think that is like a very foundational show to understand the conflict between religion and government that takes place every day. And we address that. And that show actually fuels a lot of the discussions that we have on all of our other shows. So definitely go check that out. But I do want to say, I do want to ask you, how has this conversation so far, how is it going to impact your class assignment now?
Well, honestly, what it's going to do, it gives me a scope of how exactly I honestly, I just wanted an outsider opinion. I really just wanted to know how you guys handle it, because honestly, a lot of the people, at least in my surrounding area, will just kind of ignore it. And that's sort of the issue of ignorance, is that everyone just sort of lives in a bubble of like, oh, you know what? I don't understand this. I'm just not going to deal with it. Or in some cases on campus, there are like some really violent things that can happen, like people like breaking signs or getting into fights, all sorts of just like crazy, like really childish shit.
Unfortunately.
I just wanted to see how you guys Yeah, of course, you know, that's
and
what it is, and I just wanted to see how you guys would handle it. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it.
And something else,
really great stuff.
something else I want to mention, which like I hope it's okay for me to mention this, but if you haven't watched any of the street epistemology videos by Anthony Magnabosco, he's got a lot of like he has conversations on college campuses talking to people about like different topics like this. And if you just need some more reference for engaging in those conversations, those are some really good like real life conversations that you can look at as well.
Yeah, Rajin, I hope that was all helpful. Yeah, no, love the call. I'm glad that you know you're allowing us to enter your academic environment, and I wish you the best of luck.